All right, here we go. This is from Thursday this past week. On the left, we got the 15-minute chart. On the right, we have the 2-minute chart. And we have our levels. Every day is a previous day high, pre-market high, previous day low, pre-market low. And the green lines are just the orb, 15-minute orb. So after the first 15-minute candle, we get the high and the low of that. And we also use that in our daily levels. So the first thing we watch for is a break on the 15-minute chart, a break of any of these levels, preferably away from them. Anything in between is can get a little congested, and I'd rather just wait till we get a break away from it. But on this day, on Thursday, on the first 15-minute candle, we were already breaking the previous day low and the pre-market low. So that first 15-minute candle was very strong. So once we get like a break of that level, we move to our 2-minute chart to look for an entry on the pullback. And so that was 6:30. So around 6:45 is when the candle closes. It's right here. And so then we start watching for a pullback. And the main entry is usually around the 13 EMA, which is this yellow line. And this is where I actually tried some puts. But now in hindsight, once we have a big move down that early, it's probably better to wait until we get the pullback to the next line of defense, which would be the 48 EMA. And it would just be the pre-market low as well. So that would be a better risk reward entry around that area. So let's see. We push up, higher volume, but the candle is noticeably smaller than the previous one. So that starts to become a little odd. And then we see the next candle, okay. And then we keep pushing up, and this time it's on lower volume. And it's not until we get this 2-minute candle right here with the higher volume that kind of gives us a sense of the sense that we will probably be reversing. So the safer entry on the pullbacks, along with like a retest of the 13 or the 48 EMA, is to watch for an anomaly. And an anomaly would be considered something like this right here, for example. It's a green candle, but the volume is noticeably lower than its previous candles. So this is where we get our anomaly. We close below the 13 EMA. We're back below the pre-market high, pre-market low, and this is the A+ setup right here, entry. Right there. And then since we already made our 15-minute orb low, that's the first, that becomes the first target. So we get that. And then on this day, we still kept going. We went a little lower. And then the idea is to pretty much be able to enter on any pullback that goes back to the 13 EMA. But again, I like to watch for an anomaly to happen to confirm that. So on this one, on this retest of the 13, it doesn't look too good because the volume is way higher than usual on that pullback. So we can still wait on that. And it's not until we get to this this pullback right here where we push up to the 13, and then we see the volume decreasing as we get up there. So once we push up on this candle and we end up back down here on that type of volume, this is where the other ideal entry is. Ride that from 675.75 down to 674.26. And then from there, we kind of just chop around. And it's not until, where are we at? Right here, another anomaly. Boom. Lower volume. Wicks up, closes below 13, wicks up, closes below. So this would be the third entry right here. And this one probably would have paid more than the previous one. So that one went from around 674.18 to about 671. And then by this time, we're already at almost 11 a.m. So it's already three possible entries. And then we'll go back to, let's do the previous day. So this is Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we ended up getting a 15-minute close below previous day high around 7. So around 7:15 is when we started looking for our pullback. So that becomes, the entry could have been as early as this right here, since we see our anomaly, our decreasing volume. So this could have been an entry right here with the stop loss at the previous day high. So we did try to push up and rejected it. But you would have been good if your stop was at the previous day high. And then you see a push down from 683 down to 681. So that's a pretty solid win right there. And then the next retest area is this one right here at 744. We see the anomaly with the lower volume. The green candle with the lower volume. So touching the 13 EMA, so that gives us the entry from 682 down to 681. And then over here, I mean, by this point, we're already at 8 a.m. So we already had moved from 684 down to 681. It's a pretty big move. So this would have been the other retest, and this shows an anomaly right here. So this could have been an entry, but also seeing the previous volume bars, they're also pretty high. They're pretty high, so maybe it's not the best idea to try to enter there. Yeah, for Wednesday, we got 2 good entries. Oh, this could have been another one as well, since so this breaks our pre-market low and our 15-minute low, our orb low. So that was the 6:45 a.m. candle that closed at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m. on the 2-minute puts us around this area. So then if we watch for an anomaly here, you see that it would be these 2 candles on the retest, retesting 3 different areas, retesting the pre-market low, the orb low, and the 13 EMA. So that could have been the first entry on puts, second, and the third. Three different possible entries right there. And then we move to Tuesday. Tuesday, our 15-minute break above a level was this one at 9:15. So at around 9:30 is where our entry was supposed to be. 9:30 is around this area. And then we see that we are retesting the 13 EMA and consolidating a little bit here. So then again, we look for an anomaly, and this time our anomaly is this red candle, with this volume candle being, oh, where'd it go? This one, right? Nope. This one. And that's the entry on the pullback. And then the target would have been the previous day high. So from around 681 to around 682. And then we get on the 15-minute, we break above previous day high at 10 a.m. So that means around 10:15, we can start looking for an entry for the calls. So it's around right here. And then you just wait until you get an anomaly. Don't really get one anymore. This one could have been one since it touched and retested the previous day high. And then, but the entry probably wouldn't have been. The entry would have been on the break of this candle, of this trend line right here. But the best entry for the day was this one. All right, let's see, Monday. So Monday we also get a break above our levels. So the first one we would look at would be a break of this orb low going with the target. Nope, that wouldn't have been a good risk reward, so avoid that. No entry on that orb low. The entry would have been below the pre-market low. I mean, just the pre-market low, and then above the orb high. So then we don't see that until 9:45. So around 10, we start looking for our entry. And we see 10 a.m. on a 2-minute and somewhere over in this area. And again, we look for our anomaly, which is essentially, in this case, if we're looking for calls, we're looking for a red candle with decreasing volume. So that's this one right here. This one right here. Decreasing volume, red candle. But that one would have stopped you out. That one would have stopped out because the stop loss would have been no more than this, right below the 13 EMA. So that wouldn't have worked. And over here, I wouldn't have liked this entry because we saw a big volume candle on this candle right here. And it's not until these two candles right here, these two red candles, that show the noticeably lower volume, decreasing volume. So that's our entry right there at 680. And then that rides all the way up to 682. So one entry that didn't work. And then another one that worked, 1 for 1 on Monday.